your city name from where you have joined so that we also get to know from which part of the country we have people joining. Okay. So we have the company from where you have joined. Great. So, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for taking your time to join us for this special webinar on CTEM and the changing dynamics of cybersecurity, moving from reactive to proactive. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment on behalf of Meteonic Innovation and our partner Aquila to wish each and one of you a very happy and prosperous Diwali. May this festival of lights bring joy, prosperity, and success into your homes. And of course, may your digital world stay just as secure and illuminated as your celebration. Before we dive in, just a few quick housekeeping points to ensure smooth session. This session will run around 45 minutes, followed by a question and answer segment. You can post your questions anytime using the Q&A session or the chat panel. We will take them at the end of the session. The recording and the key highlights of the session will be shared with all registered attendees after the webinar. Now, moving to today's topic, cybersecurity has evolved dramatically in the past few years. Traditional detect and respond methods no longer suffice as threat uh, actors move faster and strategically. We are dealing with expanding attack surfaces, hybrid cloud complexities, and fragmented tools that often create more noise than clarity. That's where continuous threat exposure management, CTEM, comes in. It's a new way of thinking, shift from reacting to threats after they happen to continuously identifying, prioritizing, and mitigating exposures before they can be exploited. By the end of the session, we'll have discussed uh, regarding building a CTEM framework aligned with your business goals, continuous identify and prioritize exposures, integrate CTEM into your existing SOC and vulnerability management tool, and most importantly, shift your team's mindset from reactive defense to proactive prevention. For those who may not be familiar with us, Meteonic Innovation is a leading DevSecOps and cybersecurity consulting company, helping organizations with build secure, compliant, and efficient software ecosystems. Through our strategic partnership with Aquila, we bring advanced exposures management and threat intelligence solutions that empower enterprises to manage risk more intelligently and proactively. This collaboration reflects our shared missions to help organizations stay one step ahead of emerging threats in an ever changing cyber landscape. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Akhil Nagpal. Akhil brings over a decade of experience in cybersecurity, leading pre-sales and engineering efforts across major organizations. His expertise lies in building strategic security frameworks and driving innovation in threat management. At Aquila, he focuses on empowering enterprises with intelligent exposure management and automation, helping them transform from reactive defenders to proactive strategies. So, without further delay, let's hear from Akhil as he takes us through the evolution of CTEM and how it's reshaping modern cybersecurity. Akhil, over to you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for the brief introduction. I'm quickly sharing my screen. Please confirm once my screen is visible so that we'll start with the session today.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Myself Akhil, and I came across with a decade of years of experience in cybersecurity, including handling multiple SOC, SIM, designing DRP platforms, and many more. So, I'll be focusing more on the CTEM strategy, which is means basically a need of an hour, where the changing dynamics of cybersecurity moving from a reactive to a proactive approach. So our focus will be purely on the CTEM approach today, where why there is a need of a CTEM, because they are high value target assets which a financial institution or many other organization holds, which have a sensitive data, which have a monetary assets, which makes them a prime target for a sophisticated cyber attack. Also, the threat landscape has been evolving, where there are a couple of ransomwares, advanced fraud schemes, supply chain attacks, which makes them organization which more complex to basically handle with those particular threats. Also, many organizations have the legacy systems, where basically which makes it complicate by a modern security implementations, so that to detect cyber threats, there is a very technology challenge in terms of installing those modern cybersecurity solutions into those particular legacy systems. Now, reactive security is no longer viable because there is an unacceptable risk to financial loss. There is an unacceptable risk to the reputational damage, to the operational downtime. There's also a resource drain where many of the resources gets an alert fatigue. There are so many of the alerts which, with a limited team, organization has to handle. There are many exploding attack surface which basically transforms and create multiple entry points into the organization, and there are persistent and sophisticated threats that makes target known and unknown vulnerabilities. So this makes difficult to basically manage by the reactive security approach. So there is a need of a proactive approach, and that's how CTEM comes into this picture, where CTEM is basically a 5 cycle approach. The first cycle is scoping. The second is a discovery. The third is a prioritization. Fourth is a validation. And fifth is a mobilization. So this is a 5 cycle CTEM approach, where any CTEM works on these 5 cycle, where the first cycle starts with a scoping phase, where we identify your external surface. So we basically take care of all your internet facing assets, either it's your domain or it's any public facing external IP addresses which you directly host onto the internet. So we identify your external surface, then we define the business critical systems out of those. So which whatsoever server holds the critical data, we basically prioritize those servers. We define as a business critical service. We take care of your digital inventory, where we basically look for your cloud instances, look for your web applications, look for the infrastructure that has been hosted on the internet, and then we set the boundaries to establish a clear operational boundaries for evaluation. So once the scoping is being defined, we set boundaries and move to the next phase, which is called as a discovery phase. In discovery, so what we do is we identify your exposures, we identify the exposures on the assets and the vulnerabilities. So the first thing is that we identify the phishing domains that are associated with your brand. So whatever lookalike domains are there, we which are impersonating your identity, be it a domain, be it a mobile app, we identify all such domains and check if any lookalike domain has been impersonating your identity, or if there are mail services active for those lookalike domains, which can be further used for sending a phishing emails. Then we also identify the exploitability or vulnerability on those particular domains. So we identify the critical ports, we identify the critical infrastructure vulnerabilities or a web application vulnerabilities that are exposed externally. The third step is we also identify the misconfigurations in your public cloud. So if anyone opens the API access on GitHub, or if anyone added the username and password, which are open to all on the public repository such as S3 or GitHub or a Bitbucket. So we identify all such misconfigurations that has been done. And once the identification has been done, we also help to mitigate with those mitigations. And the last step is we also monitor the dark web, where we take care of your credential leaks. Either a credential is being sold on a dark websites or a marketplaces or a page sites or any third party site network, which includes Telegram, which includes your uh, Discords or any other page sites. So we discover all those credential leaks. Along with it, we also discover the session leaks. We also discover your marketplaces information. If any leak has been published on marketplaces, which an attacker has been trying to sell those out, or trying to demand a ransom because of those leaks. So we discover all of those leaks. And apart from that, we also discover the chatter platform. So if your brand is being called in any of the chatter platforms, such as Telegram, Discord, maybe just to target your organization. So we cover all of that. So this can be explained with a simple example that is called a RipperSec, a community on Darknet Telegram channel, where what they do is, prior of publishing or prior of doing a DDoS attack, what they do is they publish a post that in next 60 minutes I'll take this website down. So if we know that we are under a threat, and the threat is DDoS, and the target country may originates most of its traffic from Syria or Russia, we can do a black hole check for those particular countries to prevent ourselves from getting impacted from a DDoS attack. So this kind of visibility that we will provide, so that prior of getting an attack, you will also know what all attackers are targeting you and what all attacks you are under a threat, so that you can take a preventive measures and prevent yourself from getting impacted from those certain attacks. So this is something that we do in a discovery phase. Then I move to the next phase, which is called as a prioritization, where we focus on a real threats. So what we do here is, once the vulnerability has been identified in a discovery phase, we prioritize beyond the CVSS score. So CVSS is basically one of a mechanism to check the priority, or to check the impact of those particular exploitability. But to confirm that exploitability, we also map the vulnerability with CISA KVE, which is known vulnerable exploit. So for any particular vulnerability, if we know that that exploit is particularly available, we prioritize those vulnerabilities, and we basically gives you the more criticality or more severity to that particular vulnerability. Also, we do attack path modeling, where we identify the surface exposures and create a real kill chain scenarios and lateral movement opportunities. So if we know that there are a couple of credential leaks which are maybe of certain applications which we identify from dark web, based on that we try to create a kill chain, and then try to create a lateral movement opportunity within the organization to check if we'll be able to move with those credentials or not. We'll also identify choke points where a single fix can neutralize multiple threat actors. Maybe it is a WAF, or maybe it's your EDR, which can neutralize those threat actors. So we also identify all of that. And then based on that, we'll give an AI-driven risk scoring, where we align your security framework with real-world attack scenarios, and then give you the risk score of those particular threats that is being there within your organization. Once done, the fourth phase is called as a validation, where we test before the actual attackers do, or before the actual attacker simulates into your environment. So what we do is we simulate the real world attack scenarios in a controlled way, to prioritize or to check the exposure validation. Also, we confirm the vulnerability by exploiting those real world threat actors. So what we do here is, if we know that your environment is being vulnerable to maybe certain ransomwares, so we try to check if your EDI be able to prevent those ransomwares or not. We try to exploit those vulnerabilities out. We try to check your security posture, that your security controls are good enough or configured properly or not, so that if the actual attackers may try to target you, will your security controls be able to prevent your organization or not? And if we found something that we were able to bypass, so basically that is something that we validate those security controls as well as the exploitability, that this exploitability is confirmed within your organization, and your security controls are not configured properly. So based on that, we also give the recommendations, remediation measures, as well as we also provide you SIM YARA rules, so that if something has been missed by your security controls, we will be able to check that. I guess Amit, you have dropped a message. Any questions, you can just put that into the chat box, so that we'll be able to address your queries once we finish the session. So any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat box. And in the validation, we'll also create your response triggers to establish that each signals or each logs you are capturing into your SIM. And if anything is being missed, as mentioned, we provide SIM YARA rules as well as the security configurations, so that those configurations can be performed into your security control, so that relevant logs will come to your SIM. And for the SIM, the trigger will be done through the YARA rules. And the last phase is a mobilization phase, where we basically automate your actions, and we basically create a workflow with your ITSM or with your security controls tools to automate the entire workflow. So what we do here is, as soon as we identify a phishing domain or a mobile app impersonating your brand identity, we automate those and take down those fraudulent apps or fraudulent stores from those particular app stores or our play stores. We also create a ticketing workflow, so that if any incident is being seen, immediately a ticket will be raised within your ITSM and will be assigned to your respective teams. We also, as part of this mobilization phase, provide a cyber awareness training. So we provide trainings to the vulnerable employees for whom we get their passwords exposed in dark web. So we provide continuous awareness to all those employees whose passwords are seen on dark web, who are being phished in a phishing drill that we're going to conduct. So all of those visibility will be provided as part of the mobilization phase. And also we push the IOCs into a respective security controls, such as firewalls, web gateways, EDRs, where for any malware classified IOCs, be it IP address, hash, domains, URLs, we push that and block that IOCs into your security control. So that automation will also be taken care. So this is the 5 cycle approach, where we started with a scoping phase, to a discovery, to a prioritization, validation, and a mobilization, which nothing is, which means basically an automation or automated workflow into your security controls. So this is a one platform solution, where we basically provide visibility by using multiple solutions altogether. So we have the 3 pillars basically forms a CTEM, which includes your people pillar, your brand pillar, as well as your infrastructure pillar. So no other organization, if I talk about, they are relying on some third parties, or they are relying on some other sources to get this feeds integrated. But we are the only OEMs providing visibility across all the 3 pillars, where we do cyber attack simulation, cyber awareness trainings, where we have breach and attack simulation and CART to validate your security controls. We have external attack surface monitoring to do a discovery phase of your complete shadow IT view, identify the critical ports, vulnerabilities. We'll also do to cater the supply chain attack. We also have third-party risk assessments, where we basically identify the exposures of your business critical vendors, and also mitigate those by either integrating with your ITSM and then assigning those tickets to your GRC team, so that your GRC will take this ahead and ask your vendors to close those vulnerabilities out. And for the entire discovery phase, we have your brand monitoring solution, we have defacement monitoring, social media monitoring, dark web intelligence, credential leak monitoring. So all of those visibility will be comes through a single platform. So I'll just move to the role of DRP and BAS in CTEM. So DRP basically helps to identify your exposures. DRP helps to give you a brand protection visibility. DRP helps to give you phishing and fraudulent monitoring visibility. It helps to give you credential leak detection and a dark web intelligence. So, DRP plays a crucial role in terms of detecting the threats, whereas BAS plays a crucial roles in terms of validating those attacks out. So, we do an automated attack emulation by using a BAS tool or a CART tool, where this visibility will come from a DRP platform and a validation will be done by BAS and CART. We also check your defense mechanism by checking the security postures for your EDR, for your email gateways, for your web gateways, web DLPs, web application firewalls. So all of those test defense efficacy will also be tested by using a BASN card. And this is a continuous identification or detecting gaps. So this is not like a one-time red teaming or one-time red teaming assessment that any organization has been conducting. This is like a continuous assessment. So as soon as your vulnerability has been detected, it will automatically gets validated by using a cart module. And we also mimic the adversary behavior across environment. So you must be getting certain hashes or certain URLs or certain domains from maybe certain or any other similar organization. But either your environment is being prevented, your security controls are good enough to prevent with those security control adversaries or not. That is something that we check it out by mimicking the adversary behavior. So let's say if tomorrow I get 50 plus URLs, and if I want to check if those URLs are accessible with my web gateway or not, I can check that within a single go by just creating a playbook, put all those 50 URLs into a playbook and check the efficacy that if the environment has been impacted with those particular URLs or not. So that is something that we check the efficacy by just mimicking the adversary behavior. So orchestrating DRP and BAS role in CTEM. So we combine the discovery and intelligence by unifying your DRP and internal scanners and create a constantly updated map of exposure, that what all detections we are getting, what all misconfigurations we identify, what all dark web exposure we identify. And on top of it, we do a contextual prioritization based on the threat intelligence, based on the discovered data, based on the validation results that we are getting. So we contextually prioritize those particular threats, and we automate the validation as well as a response, where the validation we can test it through cart, and response is something that we take by creating your automated tickets, by blocking the IOCs into your security controls, or by taking down the fraudulent domains from the internet. So that is something that we automated out. There are certain use cases which I would like to discuss from a bash and a card perspective, where phishing and credential leak is one of the major use case that many organization faces. So the challenge organization has been basically faces is they are bombarded by many phishing attempts targeting both their employees as well as their customers to steal the account credentials or to infiltrate into the network. Now, in a CTEM program, the security team conducts continuous phishing simulations to test and train your employees, and couples with digital risk monitoring for any credential leak that has been there in the dark web. So what we do here is by using the cyber attack simulation platform, we regularly simulates your phishing to test your users as well as your systems, that if anything is being blocked at your email gateway level, or if anything reaches to your users, how your user respond to that. So we test the efficacy of your users, and parallelly, we monitor the stolen credentials in the dark web or page site. So if any of the user credentials we see in the dark web, that user will prioritize, or we give the severity to, a high to that particular critical users who get phished in our drill, as well as whose credentials are available in dark web. And then we orchestrate by triggering an automated password reset and validation into your Active Directory, and also initiate a takedown of those malicious domains, and also provide a training to your users that how to get safe on the internet, how to get prevented from a phishing or a wishing or any other scenarios that has been there. So this way we protect your users, and by using a CTEM, you'll be able to have an immediate containment plan that basically prevent your credential compromise, that also closes the loop between your phishing exposures as well as your credential compromise. The second use case that I would like to brief about is on the brand spoofing detection and automated takedown workflow, where an organization discover its DRP platform that multiple mobile apps or multiple websites have appeared fortuning fortuning the organization or impersonating the identity of the organization. Now, these fake websites or apps could deceive customers into entering login credentials or personal data, or sometimes even for the fraud and reputational damage and for the monetary purposes as well. So what we do as part of CTEM is, from a brand spoofing, we basically take care of all the impersonating apps, we take care of all the impersonating websites, and then we prioritize and validate by just validating a playbook, where that playbook will attempt to log into a fake website with a dummy data to see what data is sent. And based on the response that an application is been giving, we basically identify that this maybe application is being used for maybe a credential harvesting, or for any other malicious use. Now, what we do orchestrate here is we take down that application swiftly, and by using a threat intel, we update the fraud detection systems that this application is being used for phishing purposes. So we are also a part of anti-phishing working group, where we share those intel with other organizations, that if any organization is being or if any attacker is been impersonating maybe couple of banks at a parallel time, so we share those IPs details, we share those data with those anti-phishing working groups, so that they can even prevent other customers by using the same threat intel. And also we do a continuous improvement. So this if that application reappears or monitor again, so whatever lesson we learn, we basically create a complete scope of work, where we basically helps to give you a complete visibility that how to respond to those actions, if there is a need to maybe block certain IPs, or if there is a need to block certain phishing domains. So sometimes what happen is, many of those lookalike domains only be used for initiating a mail services. There is no active website, no active uh, content on that particular web page, but just a mail services for a lookalike domain is being active. So what we do here is, we as soon as those or such website is being identified, those particular domains and IP address will be shared with the customer on an immediate basis, so that this domains having mail services active immediately be blocked into the email gateway, so that there will be no phishing attempt possible with the end users. So that is something that we prepare an SOA, and then give you a complete run book that how to block those, or what all analysis impact or remediation measures a customer has to follow. So that is something that we do it on a regular basis. Now, moving to the third use case, which is a supply chain attack and a continuous vendor assessment, where we basically notice that a third party provider, maybe a cloud CRM platform or any other third party application, which maybe organization has been using. So there are a couple of potential threats or cyber risk or exposures that has been identified into a third party application. So there is a high possibility that the vendor application gets compromised, and because of that, the attacker may enter into your organization, maybe by using VPN bypass, or maybe by exploiting the API validation with the API exposure that is being set with this particular business vendors. Now, with the DRP platform, we monitor all your supplier security. We flag breaches for or vulnerabilities into their systems. And once a breach is being identified, we prioritize the score basis on if for any particular exposure, if the exploit is available. So we prioritize those risk score, and with bash we simulate the attack from your third party foothold to test the organization security controls. So we basically try to do a API validation attack, or we try to bypass your VPN to check if your vendor is being exposed, still your security controls be able to prevent your organization or not. And then we do a continuous improvement. We also orchestrate it by initiating a ticketing into your GRC, into your ITSM platform, which can be assigned to your your GRC team so that your GRC can coordinate and ask your vendor to close those loopholes. So these are the continuous assessment that we perform live on your third party vendors or a third party and business critical exposure panel, so that we can automate and prevent your organization to get impacted by a supply chain attack. So this is a continuous enhancement that we do with your all your business critical vendors. So with this, I assume that I'm at the last of the slide, and after that, I have a certain quiz that we are going to conduct. So with CTEM workflow, the first phase is asset discovery and assessment, where we do a continuous discovery and analyze all your digital asset across your network. We do a threat intelligence integration, where we do a real-time threat data feed and identify emerging attack vectors. We prioritize your risk. As mentioned, we basically prioritize basis on the exposure that is being identified or an exploit that is being available, and by focusing on your business critical systems. And then we validate it by using a bash and cart, and we automate and deploy quick fixes and integrate with your security controls to prevent yourself from getting impacted. So that covers the entire CTEM journey, where we started from a scoping phase and covers till the mobilization or automation. Any questions? Ahmed, if you just open the question window, so that if any questions are there, I'll be able to address that.
Yeah. So actually, thank you very much, first of all, Akhil, for the awesome insights on the verticals that you covered, specifically regarding the CTEM. So just to be, while I was, and till the time I am asking my question, the attendees can write their own first set of questions so that we can answer them right now. Okay. So you mentioned that organizations often have fragmented tools that provide data, but not real insight. How can CTEM help to bridge that gap?
So currently what happen is most of the organization have
Mhm.
all the security tools that they have deployed. Maybe they have breach and attack simulation tool, or maybe they have EASM to get a visibility, but none of these tools are sharing the feeds with each other. All these are working in silos, so we won't be able to validate if the security exposure is confirmed or not. We won't be able to check if any of my credentials that are available in dark web are still active or not. So since the feeds are not sharing between the platform, so there is a gap to basically validate those exposures. So we are getting something from a third party platform, but to validate it out, we don't have any data on some other application. Now with the CTEM, once we have a visibility and a validation comes into a single platform, we can validate all your exposures by just simulating a playbook into your environment. So we don't need to wait to get a data ingested into my platform. All of that will come from a single platform. So there will be no
Mhm.
challenge across in terms of identifying a vulnerability or validating a vulnerability.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So totally understood the importance now. So I think one more thing that we have this technical question and answers now currently, and we are not conducting any quiz currently. So for anyone who wants to ask any of the questions, we can get that answer. And if you have any question that you want to ask the participants or the joinees, please feel free to ask. So we have one question. Do we have any guidelines from SEBI or RBI for breach and attack simulation?
So to answer this, yes, we do have. So we do have guidelines from earlier from SEBI. It was a mandate, but now based on the RE, you can have an optional or mandate both. But for RBI, yes, it is a mandate for a BAS. Amit, I'm not able to hear you. I guess you are trying to say something.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was asking, like, one of the major challenges security teams face today is prioritization. As I have discussed with so many people, and I'm taking care of this part. So, too many alerts, limited resources uh, are there in currently in the organization. So, how does CTEM or help teams focus on what truly matters?
Okay. So most of the organization face challenges while when it comes to the prioritizing an event. Now, how we can prioritize it properly is the first way is basically to validate if the or to basically check if any particular exploit is available for that particular exposure or not. So sometimes what happen is if I just run a scanner and the scanner will give
Mhm,
me a predictive vulnerability that maybe your application has been vulnerable to let's say maybe a brute force attack or maybe some exposure that a CV that has been identified. But will that CV is exploitable into your organization? That makes a real impact into your organization. So what we do here is prioritizing plays a major role where we basically first validate first of all if that exploit for a particular vulnerability is available or not. If yes, then definitely there is a high possibility that your an organization gets impacted. The second is once with prioritization, if we also validate those exposures, so maybe a high possibility that yes, that vulnerability has been exploitable, but you have a good security solutions, maybe a good idea that will block that particular vulnerability into your organization or will prevent yourself from getting impacted. So prioritization along with validation plays a major role to reduce your alert fatigue, where most of the resources are busy in handling those uh, I can say events or alerts that they're getting from different security tools. But by using a prioritization and validation all together, you can reduce
mhm.
those alerts and prevent your organization from the alert fatigue that many organization faces.
Okay, great. So, Akhil, we have got another question from Mr. Ankul. That how do you compare with other competition?
So the comparison is quite simple. If I talk about my competitor in terms of the DRP space, I have CloudSec or any other competitor. Sorry, I won't name it. But yeah, if I compare my competitor into the DRP space, they don't have a validation mechanism. So they won't be able to validate the things from the BAS and CART module that we were able to. And if I
Mhm,
have to compare my competitor with the validation phase, they don't have something that identify all of those datas in terms of ASM, in terms of DRP, dark web. So the comparison is quite straightforward that we are an only single OEM who gets end-to-end visibility from a scoping to a mobilization phase. No other OEM will provide you that visibility. Others are claiming that they also have a CTEM, but sometimes the discovery component has been missing. They are only providing CTEM from uh, I just say from an external attack surface monitoring point of view, they won't give you visibility across the dark web. They won't give you visibility across the phishing domains. They won't give you visibility across the third party supply chain. Whereas the others who gives you the visibility won't be automate
mhm.
the validation. They will be relying on a manual pen testing approach where they will be using a manual pen test to basically validate your exposures. So we are an end-to-end automated platform where from a discovery to automation, everything will be performed by the platform itself. There will be no manual intervention required, and there will be no resource efforts required in terms of validating those exposures.
Okay, that's really good. So I have another question that is there. So, if you had to summarize, what's the core business pain point CTEM solves for CISOs and security leaders?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I have one question from one of the viewers that if you had to summarize, what's the core business pain point CTEM solves for CISOs and security leaders?
Okay, the core business pain points which basically CTEM can solve for CISO and security leader is that they will get a complete real attack surface scenarios within the organization. So they can continuously discover and inventorize all the digital assets of the organization. You'll have a complete shadow IT and misconfiguration view. Also, you'll have a complete automated validation from the exposure point of view. So you will get a validated dashboard that what's your shift from an annual audit point of view, from a 24/7 exposures management, and based on that you will be able to get a complete visibility through a single dashboard that at what stage or at what risk level your organization is at. So you'll be able to know your CTEM score by checking that. You will be able to identify that maybe on day one when you implement CTEM, you are at 70% of risk. But within maybe 6 months down the line, or within 9 months down the line, your CTEM risk score reduces drastically from 70 to 20%, where all
Mhm.
your exposures are validated, all your exposures are currently mobilized, and you'll have a complete visibility to basically show to your management that how with the CTEM you will be able to reduce the organization risk score drastically. So all of those visibility you will get it by using a CTEM dashboard within a single console.
So, as I can understand, this is something that this solution can basically cater to the problems that lots of security persons have cited, that this is the problem that we are going to face, or we have faced somewhere, but we don't have any solution for that. So this
True.
is one place where it comes and it can help you solve lots of problems that people are facing, especially the CISOs and security leaders are facing. So it bridges the gap between these two things, right? Regarding the AI thing and also the solutions that we have been doing, like pen testing and everything that we are using.
Sorry, Amit, I lost you in the last. Hello.
Something like that, right?
Sorry, Amit, I lost you from
Of
last
the tool
20
or the
seconds.
solution that, okay. Is it better now? Am I
Yeah, it's
audible
better.
now? Okay. So as I understood, like people are moving from reactive to proactive, like the reactive points where we are doing pen testing and different aspects of security parts in that. And now people are also doing some sort of solution, using some of sort of solutions like SIEM, SOAR, and everything. So this tool basically is bridging the gap between the two different parts of the security posture, so that we can be proactive and we can mitigate the solutions before it comes into the picture, or before it comes to the uh, before it becomes a threat, basically.
Definitely. So this tool will help a major role. So if I give you an example, at the time of
Mhm,
this Operation Sindoor, there were many banks that were getting targeted. So there are certain
mhm,
uh, basically malwares that attacker has been
mhm,
trying to exploit into your organization. So as
mhm,
soon as we know that there is a trending threat that has been available into the market, which targets mostly the financial sector or maybe any manufacturing industry, we
mhm.
before the actual attackers enters into your organization, we basically validate if my security controls be able to prevent me with those particular threats or not. So we mimic the actual attacks into any of my test machine which have all the security controls that exist into my environment, and then I check the efficacy that will my security control be able to prevent my organization when an actual attacker comes or not. Once we know that there are certain gaps, we fix those gaps before the actual attack comes, and we have a remediation measures available within the organization to prevent ourselves.
Okay. Well explained, Akhil. So I think we have covered lots of questions. Most of the questions that I asked were from the participants. A few questions from my side as well. So thank you everyone, first of all, for your thoughts and questions and active participation. And Akhil, with this, we will wrap this session. If you have anything to say, please let me know. Anything that we can
I'm good.
discuss on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we wrap up today's session, a big thanks you to Akhil for sharing your such valuable insights, and to all our attendees for joining us. The key takeaways from today: cybersecurity is no longer about reacting to incidents, but anticipating them. With CTM, organizations can stay ahead of attackers and manage exposure in real time, ensuring stronger, smarter, and more resilient defenses. We hope you found the session valuable and informative. If you have any questions or practical and provoking, you can you can ask for a demonstration in the chat box. We'll be providing the link in the chat box where you can sign up and ask for the demonstration or a one-on-one session with Akhil. Or you can also put your questions in the chat box that we can address later on after the webinar also. Okay. And once again, we celebrate the festival of lights. Here is uh, here is wishing you and your loved ones a happy, prosperous, and secure Diwali. Stay safe, stay cyber aware, and thank you for being a part of today's webinar. Thank you very much, Akhil, and thank you very much,